that's not right.
Yeah.
That is not right. That makes me feel old.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I guess I've been out of high school 2 years now.
4.
You're old, dude.
4 years.
Sweet.
So I saw if we keep it like an inch away, that's like prime.
I figured it was about 1 inch to 2 inches.
That's all you need.
Okay, Tanner. You say so, man.
All it takes is 3 inches to please a woman. It's the size of a credit card.
So you're gonna start giving a credit card to your wife now?
No, I don't have a credit card to give to her, so.
There you go. You get away with everything you can.
Not yet, though. I've been looking, though.
Yeah.
I've been looking at getting one.
I've been looking to figure out what me and Ellie want to do for sure.
Figured it's time.
Never hurt to have one, at least having like a Netflix subscription or something recurring on it, so then you're building some credit off of it. So
Right, and that's the biggest thing, because the only thing you need credit for is to buy a house,
Or-
pretty much.
or get any type of loan. I mean, car loan or anything like that. So
Right, that's true. That's true. Do you recommend any, or should we leave that for another episode?
it kind of ties into what we're talking about. So
Okay.
I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. If you do the Discover It card, that's a pretty good one to build credit. Any of the Chase signature cards I've heard are pretty good about building your credit pretty fast.
The Freedom ones. The
Yeah,
Chase Freedom line is pretty good too.
Yeah, I think Freedom Line's actually easier to get into and get approved
Yeah.
for.
For like building points, like you'd use those ones to get into like the point system, because they've got a pretty decent points.
Yeah,
thing.
Chase has got a really good point
So-
system. So
I was looking at those because I bank through Chase.
yeah,
I've got a couple accounts at Chase, I should say, and it says you're pre-approved. I'm like, am I really?
Or is that just a trap to get
Or
me
is
in?
is it just like, yeah? Because I'm like, I don't have a high enough credit score for them.
Right.
Because it says there's like a minimum. From like the research I've done, there's a minimum for those. I'm like, I'm not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But then I look at Chase, like the app, and it said like, since your experience with us, since like you have the history with us. I'm like, so maybe since I've been a member for so long,
They know your
and have-
habits and
yeah,
stuff.
have an
So
account there. So, because I haven't missed a payment on anything yet. So,
yeah, which I mean, really with credit cards, just use them like a debit card. Whenever you use it, just pay it off.
Yeah.
Like don't pay interest on it. You'll save so much money on it. Like
right.
and with I've looked into it. Chase on some of their cards, their interest rates aren't awful either on those credit cards for the most part. I mean, again, everything depends on your credit and what you have going on.
Right.
But I mean, it's all relative to what you want to do. I mean, with doing a MasterCard or anything like that, I think they're the ones that have a better point system as well. That once you build up more points and stuff, you can go pay for more travel and do more stuff. And their cash back and stuff on all the credit cards are different.
Right.
Just depends on what's going on and what you want to accomplish. So if you're looking for cash back, you just got to figure out which one
Right.
gives the best cash back. Or if you're looking for rewards points or building credit, I mean, once you get into like any of those banks, Discover, MasterCard, or Chase, like once you're in there, then you got to decide, okay, which one. They have different levels of cards and stuff, and you can move up and whatever. But
Right. I found this one guy on TikTok who talks all about these different cards and whatnot, like the best ones for intro and all this other stuff. And someone asked him what cards does he use. He says, I don't recommend doing what I'm doing unless you're like have experience. He said, I've got 17 cards. And I was like, 17, homeboy, what are you doing? But then like the reason why, he said like the ones that he has is for different levels of whatever. So it's like this card gives him better points or cash back in this area rather than all these other cards.
right,
He said he's got one that like he like rarely uses. He uses it for like those like random like buckets, I guess you could call them.
right,
That no other card can compare to, but it's like a very rare one. But it's like it's worth having when you buy it because it gives you such great stuff. But like that's the only thing he uses it for.
right.
Okay.
Well, and I look at it and like you at least need 3. Like as a married couple, I feel like you at least need 3. One personal one for each of you, and then a joint one
Okay.
would be my suggestion, because then that kind of divides it up a little bit. Not then you have your togetherness of, okay, this is ours, grocery shopping,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you need together, and then you have your personal stuff. All right, you want to go buy a new camera, and she doesn't want you to buy a new camera.
Right.
You go use your credit
Too
card.
bad. I'm buying a new camera.
Yeah, you go use your card and saying, okay, this was bought with my money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if she wants to go buy a new purse or go get her nails done, like,
Right. And that's what we do with our bank accounts right now. Like, I've got my own bank accounts because I didn't want to give those up
mm-hmm.
because, like, I've never been screwed over by them.
Right.
It's like, I've got a long history there. I don't want to leave. She has hers. She banks at Navy Fed because her dad's
That's right.
a vet. And so she still has the ability to get those, and they're great for, I think, loans and other stuff. They're great for other things,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't want to leave them. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not leaving mine. And so, like, let's find a bank that we can jointly do it at.
Right.
And then, yeah, it's the same principle, though. It's like, if I
Yeah.
want to buy something, I'm using my money. She's using hers. We're still kind of trying to find that flow, though, of, like, how much do we put into the joint, because we're, like, pulling random amounts every time.
And that's the hard part about doing a joint is, like, okay, if it's not strictly a joint, like, if you put her on your account and that's your joint account,
Mm-hmm.
that's not as hard. But, like, doing a straight joint account, it's like, okay, I put in $1,000, you have to put in $1,000. Like, that's hard to do sometimes with a lot of couples.
Right.
Like, but in my mind, I'm like, you just say, all right, we each put in, we get our paycheck into our personal account. All right, 15% of that or whatever is going into the joint account,
Right.
no matter what. So then there's always money in there to
Mm-hmm.
groceries, utilities, anything like that.
Right, and we're trying to find the best thing, because right now we've just done 50% straight to the joint, because then
Mhm.
that will cover our rent, utilities, groceries, when we go out on a date,
Mhm.
go out to dinner, stuff like that. That's what it covers.
Right.
And it's kind of fluctuated, because, like, when we got married last June. And so it's like I was working full time this summer, and
Right.
school started, and so I was working part time. She was also working. She was working pretty much full time as well.
Right.
And then she got a new job, but this job she only is working part time now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to school this all last semester, and so it was like we weren't making as much money as we were before. So it was like, well, the 50% isn't always going to cover everything. So it's like trying to find that. But now, like, I'm full time again, so I'm like, I'm not as worried anymore.
Right.
Of like, oh, I don't want to pull from savings again to
Mhm.
cover this last little bit of whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
because of, it's like we're not making as much, and like we're not as strict as I would like to be
Right.
with our money, not as disciplined,
Right.
which is something that we've talked about. And it's kind of like she's like, Cam's like, I don't like talking about money. Like, I don't know that much about it. And I'm like, that's totally fine. Like, I know
Yeah.
nothing about money too.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It-
not a bad thing that you don't know anything, because I don't know anything either. It's like, this is what I've heard that works, and we just got to find something that works for us.
Well, and you listen to Dave Ramsey or whoever you want to listen to, any of those money guys, they all have different philosophies on what you want to do. I mean, Dave Ramsey's pay off the house first, and
Yeah.
then, but I look at it and go, no, it just depends on what your situation is. Like, all right, you guys' situation. All right, you went from full time and a part time to both part time. That
Yeah.
significantly cut down on your income. So it's
Right.
like, all right, let's up this. All right, let's do this different. Like, you're just gonna make changes. There's no
Yeah.
set answer for anybody at a certain point in time. Like, it changes.
Yeah. And so Cam was like, all right. Because every time I try and bring it up with her, like, we need to form some type of money plan, budget, whatever you want
Right.
to call it. Every time I try and talk to her about it, it's usually later in the day, like when we're both back from work, we're
Mhm.
done with everything for the evening, and she's just like in relax mode. And I'm like, well, we need to talk about this. We said that we were going to talk about this. We need to. And like, I'm not necessarily wanting to talk about it because it is late, but she's definitely not wanting to talk about it.
Right.
And she's like, just come up with the plan, tell me what it is, and then we'll go. I'm like, so you don't want to plan it with me? She goes, no, I trust you. Just do it. I'm like, okay, well, once I figure it out, I'm gonna have you like pass
Okay,
off on it.
Yeah.
And if you want something changed, please let me know. Like, I want your input. Like, I don't want to just do it. She's like, it's fine. Like, I don't care. I'm like, just do it. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, okay.
I guess I'll do it.
I'm like, I'll try and figure it out.
I mean, that's, again, it just changes through life, and you just gotta adapt to it and figure out what you want to do. So.
Mm-hmm. So, and the philosophy or theory, I guess, that I've been doing for the last few months is the idea of pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki talks about it in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's talked about a bunch of other places. And so it's like, right when you get your paycheck, you got to pay yourself first. And when I first heard that, I'm like, what does that mean? Pay myself first? Like, what do you mean, dog? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And so come to find out, I've narrowed it down to 10% gets donated to charity. So I donate to the church.
Right.
It's the very first thing I do. And then 10% goes into a investment portfolio fund.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have an app that I use. I put 10% into it. It goes in, and I decide if I want to put it into something, or if not, they just release some, like pretty much like a savings account that gives you a decent APY. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep it in there
Yeah.
and not invest it, because I don't care about investing too much. I'm not that into it. And then and then another 10% goes into an emergency fund, which again is not It's not connected. It's not at the same bank that I bank with. It's through a separate everything, again, savings account that gives me a better APY. Put the money in that, because then it's actually doing something other than just sitting in an account. And then after that, I'm like, well, what do I do with this last 70? That's what I got to figure out what to do with.
Well, and a good philosophy too, from a tax perspective too, is saving on tax and whatever is very similar to that. First, pay others, give to charity, be very charitable. I mean, it's just statistically proven. And when people are having hard time, like themselves are having a hard money situation, they give to charity first, because they feel like there's others in need. So you give that, and then you always put it into savings. It's always the next thing you do. And then the other thing you need to do is retirement. That's the next biggest tax saver right there, between that and a health savings account. Those two big things will save you a lot down the road.
Yeah, I always forget about like retirement, like a 401k. Like my work offers that. And it just gets pulled out before. So like before I get my check, it takes 3% out.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I see how much I get. I'm like, okay, how can I make this work? And then I remember later, because I'm like, why did taxes so much and all this other stuff? Because I'm going off of like my net or gross? Net.
Your
net's the first one, right?
It's gross amount.
Gross. Right, because net's what you take home. So I look at the gross, and I'm like, okay. Then I look at the net, I'm like, what?
Well,
I'm like, taxes, and then I remember, I was like, oh, wait, some of that is retirement stuff.
Well, 401k is good to have, but you always need to have at least one other separate one besides what you have at work.
Right.
Never have a pension. Pensions fail. They don't last. Do a 401k, that covers your bases fairly well, but have a separate IRA account, whether when you're younger you want to have a Roth. If not, just get a traditional. But it saves you a lot down the road too to have it in an IRA versus a 401k. You actually earn more off of it, and it's actually the tax implications about the same.
Okay.
As far as I understand it, but
first, that was a pretty long and deep small talk that we're doing in the beginning here.
I mean, it leads, like I said, it leads right into our topic today. Of just life advice. We good?
Yeah, we're at 12 minutes.
Well,
we can go for another 2:30 is when we'll try and wrap up.
Okay.
Because then it'll be real close.
That'll be really close. Okay. Sorry, I keep dying here.
Oh yeah, water on your fancy couch. Oh, there it is.
Dribbled all over myself. That's a nice blooper right there.
Hope I didn't just break my phone.
No.
Fancy. Okay.
All right. So today's podcast we've kind of introed into it a lot, is just life advice of what we want to talk about.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, by the way. Colby, Tanner, two of us again.
Yep.
Gotta excuse those other two for the next little bit, as we've said before. They're doing summer sales and whatever, so you'll just have us two for the next little bit. So
sorry in advance.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. We'll find out when we're done. So back to our life advice here. We were kind of thinking about it and figured this is a good time to give advice to people. It's graduation season, trying to help people figure out what's going on, what they need to do with their life. And
you just graduated.
Yeah, kind of. I walked.
Kind of.
I technically don't graduate till August.
Oh, because of the summer.
Yeah, I got one more semester, so I was doing it through the summer. But
and then you got your bachelor's, correct?
Yeah, that's my bachelor's. Yeah.
In?
accounting.
Okay, just want to make sure. Just I
Ba-
didn't know.
Bachelor's of Science in
did you
accounting.
minor in anything?
No, I'm not that fancy.
Okay.
I could have double majored, but
What would you have double majored in?
finance. It's like 3 more classes.
I thought if you double majored, it had to be like different. No, or it has to be the same.
You can do whatever you want. You can double. I could be in accounting and have a fine arts degree as a.
Because I looked at that because like I took a ton of like photography classes.
Right.
I was like, why don't I just? I'm like halfway there, if that. And
Right.
It's like gives me a fun class to do. But then I looked at like an art degree.
Mm-hmm.
All this other stuff. I was like, oh, never mind. I don't want to do. I don't care about like intro to art history. Like,
Right.
I'm not into that because there's not like a photography degree. It's art. I'm like, I don't care about these other ones.
Yeah, those other classes aren't worth it at all. But anyways, back to advice here. So first one I want to start off with is graduating high school. Just kind of give our little bit younger audience a taste of what it's like to be graduated from high school and kind of what to expect, what we did, and kind of what we figured we would do better at. I feel
you know
like
anyone graduating high school right now?
no.
Personally,
Mm-mm.
Austin, my little brother is
No.
graduating high school. Yeah,
No.
Gage graduates next year.
That's not right.
Yeah,
That is not right. That makes me feel old.
yeah.
I mean, shoot, I guess I've been out of high school 2 years now.
4
You're old, dude.
4 years.
You're coming up on your 5th year anniversary. You gonna go to
Yikes,
that?
dude? I'm not even sure if they're gonna do that. I have no idea. I've thought about it. I'm like, I think that'd be dope.
That'd be pretty
Just to
cool.
roll back through.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like graduating high school is like the biggest first life event you go through, like
Right.
as an adult. Like,
Mhm.
oh crap, like I don't know what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
Like,
It's a free subscription to life.
yeah, you get a little taste of what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that scares a lot of people. I mean, who doesn't get scared by that?
Right.
I mean, I look at it and going, okay, what do you do after high school? Do you go to college? Do you just go work?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to trade school? I mean, it to me, it's like find what you think you want to do and try it. There's no
Right.
harm in, or I'm going to go to a semester of college and kind of take 5 different classes and go, okay, take a business class, take an engineering class, whatever it is that fits your personality, and going, okay, let me try this. Get in the class, try it out, and going, oh, hey, I don't want to do this. And then if you're like, okay, maybe I want to try be a diesel mechanic. All right, go to trade school. I praise trade school.
Yeah.
I think that's almost better option than college nowadays, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes college is overrated. If you're going to college for, I'm kind of gonna bag on my future spouse here a little bit, but going to management, all right.
Hey.
I'm gonna bag on you a little bit too, but
No, I agree. I bag on it too.
it teaches you about business and stuff, but it has some good points. But really, to be a manager, you have to be in the position and learn trial by fire, basically,
Mhm.
like just thrown into it and just figure out as you
Right.
go. I mean, whereas if you want to be a doctor or surgeon, yeah, you got to go to school. Like, you can't just,
Right.
oh, I'm going to start cutting somebody open. Like, you can't do
Mhm.
that. Like, that's where you'd have to find where you want to be.
Right. And I agree with that. I think going to like the traditional 4-year university, getting a degree,
Mm-hmm.
it does and doesn't hold as much weight as it once did.
Right.
I think it really depends on what area you want to go into. Like you
Right.
said, doctor, dentist, anything in the medical field, for the most part, you need schooling
You
for
need
it.
school. Yeah.
There are like dental assistants, you don't have to, but that's because you get trained by the dentist who
Right.
did just go,
Yeah, who went to school
right?
for it.
But like dental hygienist, you got to go to school for.
Right.
And so it's like those ones, you need the schooling, you need to learn, you need the certificates, you need the degree, you need all that stuff to work in that field. On the flip side, though, it's like if you don't know what you want to do, but you don't want to go to school, go find a job,
Right.
right? And then find something, and then, oh, well, I need some experience. And you like working with your hands, blue collar, I guess you
Yeah.
could call it. You go to trade school. And I looked at doing trade school out of high school.
Yeah.
Instead of going to college, I was like, I don't really want to go to 4 years. I don't want to do all these, all the generalized classes. I don't want to do that again like I
Right.
did in high school. So I looked at trade school to do, graphic design style. It was like,
yeah.
I wanted it for photography and videography, but it, the degree came with like graphic design, all these
Mhm.
other artsy graphic style stuff.
Right.
And I looked at doing that, and it was like a 1.5 year program for just as much as one semester at a traditional like university. I was like, well, this looks like a great option.
Yeah.
But then I didn't go into it because I was like, well, I can learn photography on my own. I don't care necessarily to learn all these other skills because I don't want to do them.
Right.
So I ended up just going to traditional school and eventually found the business side of it and started taking business classes and fell in love with that.
Right.
So, but I fell in love with the entrepreneurial side of it, owning a business, running a business, not being a manager.
Right.
I've taken pretty much all the management classes, and they just teach you how to work for someone else. Pretty much all the business classes do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Marketing, same way. It's like it teaches you how to work for someone else. And if that's what you want, that's great.
That's great.
Like if it works for you, it works for you, and that's phenomenal. Like if you don't want to be the head of the company, you just want to do that, that's great.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that like doing that, and that's great for them. For me, it didn't work for me.
Right.
I liked the owning it, running it, starting it, growing it, building it, all these other stuff. And so there was a couple classes that I took that I really, really liked. I took one, it was my 3rd semester in a row taking the same class.
Right.
Because it was entrepreneurial, it was growing a business, starting a business, learning from other business owners, entrepreneurs, all this other stuff. That is what I liked.
Well, and again, it goes back to you just got to find what you want to do. Just
right.
If you don't know what you want to do, test a few things. All right, let's take some medical classes. All right, let's take some business classes or whatever it is. Like, try that stuff. Even if you can, try them in high school, because then you're that much farther ahead and going, okay, I want to go to trade school. I know I want to go do HVAC, so I want to go.
No, you don't.
Just throwing that out there.
From experience. It's cool and all. Like, I actually enjoyed learning how the air conditioners worked.
Right.
For those who don't know, I worked for my father, who owns an HVAC company, which is air conditioning.
Right.
I worked during the summers in high school, a little out of high school. So, like, I learned how, they worked for the most part. I could kind of explain it briefly a little bit, more than
to some degree.
Maybe just like some random person.
More than I could.
Maybe. But I just did not like the summers. It was so hot, all this other stuff, and it was like, this is not fun.
Again, you tried it out and went, okay, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. So you tried something else.
Right.
Found what you wanted, somewhat what you wanted to do.
But I think, like, if you don't know, like, you don't want to go to trade school, you don't want to do the trades, you're impartial about school. It's like you don't want to, but you're also not against it. But you don't want to, like, you don't know what you want to work. It's like, then maybe try for an associate's, because you have to take generalized classes for that. And maybe there is one that you like you said, take a variety of classes. And if there's one that sticks out, push for that.
Push for that and take it. I mean, just trial and error. It takes a minute. I mean, that's part of navigating college too, is just, or even life after high school is just, all right, there's always a set plan. All right, you're a junior in high school. You have to take all these classes, and here's your schedule. You get into college or get out of high school. Okay, here you go. Here's life. And you're like, okay, where do I go? What do I do? Like, nobody gives you an answer. They're like, well, just do what you want. Well, I don't know what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Well, you just got to trial and error like everybody else and just kind of navigate it as best you can.
Right. In high school, there's some variety in the classes.
There's a little. There's not a lot. But not
really. You still have to take, like, the core classes in order to pass.
Yeah, you got to take English and whatever.
They're building pretty much a tech school for high schoolers here in St. George.
I didn't know that.
Over on South River Road, where all that new stuff's going out, there's a big old building right before you get to the Parkway.
Yeah.
Up on the west side or something like that of the road. Mm-hmm. Big old career and technology high school or something like that going up.
Well, I think that's what's great about, like, at least down here in Southern Utah, there's Dixie Tech. As a senior, isn't it? Junior or senior year of high school, they let you take courses there and be EMT.
Right.
Whatever you want. There's all sorts of courses you can take there. Or you can take college credit classes throughout your whole high school career and go, okay, I want to take this math class. All right, let's take this class, take that class, and you can test it and just, again, find out before you graduate high school and have somewhat of a plan.
Right.
And if you have a plan, follow it the best you want, but things change. Like, you'll always have to find a difference.
Right. So how did you stumble upon accounting?
So, again, I think it was my senior year. Yeah, it was my senior year of high school. I was taking college classes and stuff. And I actually graduated with, for
Right, because you were smart.
I wasn't that smart. I was just knew how to work college a little bit. I graduated high school. For those that don't know, I graduated high school with my associate's degree.
Like I said, he was smart.
Not really. Depends on the day. But during that, I was taking all these classes. I took, I knew I wanted to go into business was kind of the area I wanted to go into, but I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to go into. So I took a finance class, I took an accounting class, just a management class, and just tested all of them. And I took a marketing class too. Absolutely hated marketing. Awful. Same thing as any high school class you take. Worthless degree, in my opinion.
I agree. I've taken a couple marketing classes, and it was pretty much read from the textbook. It was very basic. They were all the same. I enjoy marketing. I work in marketing. I enjoy actually doing it, learning about it. Boring.
Yeah, learning about it's boring. But again, I took accounting, and it was like easy for me. Like debits and credits made total sense to me. Everything just like clicked immediately, and I was like, all right, I think this is what I want to do. Took another class again. Yep, still what I want to do. And then here I am 2 years later and got a bachelor's degree in it. So gonna go on.
Master's degree coming on here soon.
Yeah,
too.
give me another year and I'll have my master's on that. So,
all right.
And then hopefully be licensed as a CPA by then. So
I have a question though. So if you get a master's degree in accounting, do I have to refer to you as Master Accountant Colby?
I mean, if you want to, that'd be cool. But
I will.
If not,
I will.
it's like for the ceremony yesterday, they give us the card for them to read, and on the back it was like how you want them to pronounce it. I was like, I'm gonna put doctor on here, just to mess with them. And
Megatron.
And Megatron. Something stupid like that, but
yeah.
Probably one quick thing I think we should get to before we wrap this up is just dating in general. I think that's a hard one.
That's
to navigate.
Not a real quick one, dog.
Just briefly, I think we could hit
briefly, and we'll probably make an episode about it.
Yeah, I think that probably deserves its own episode.
Comment below if you want us to talk about dating.
That should
we bring our wives on? I know they've talked about it and they want to.
I think that's a good idea.
They want to do it eventually. I don't know if we want to wait for the other guys to get back, or if we just maybe we trial run it first.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I
know my sister wants to be on it. Or not wants to, but she is.
What, Catherine or Sydney?
Yeah, Kat. She's joked about it a couple times. Like, if you need a special guest.
Oh.
She said that a couple times, so.
Well, I think it's a good idea to do that.
Smart. We get a spread of people, pick their brains about it.
I think that's a good idea.
Because I tell you right now, I got lucky. I believe that my wife, my loving, beautiful wife, took pity on me, as well as God took pity on me.
Yeah.
Said he suffered enough.
He's had a hard enough time.
There was a, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know.
Everyone in my family, we all have an ex that has one thing in common, that we're all bad, and it's the first letter of their name. We're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've joked about it a bunch, and I'm like, what about you, Ma? And she's like, it doesn't work with her because the same letter applies to my father.
Right.
So we're like,
it doesn't completely work, but works for everybody else.
Yeah. So there's memes about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, there's a lot of memes where it's like this letter, stay away from it.
Should have listened to it. Listen to the internet.
Yeah, believe everything you see on the internet.
Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up and let us know if you want us to do that dating episode. I think that's a good one to.
Whether you like it or not, we're doing it.
We're probably gonna do it. So your opinion doesn't matter, but it does. Like, share, download, whatever you want to do. Help us out here. Keep getting you good stuff to listen to. So,
yep.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Adios.